Hello and welcome to the introduction to the new Flower Medley stamp set and Flower Medley dies. If you love to create with florals and you love to stamp, then this collection is for you. It's a beautiful kind of layering stamp set. You can layer up the blooms, you can mix and match for a lot of different looks. It's a large stamp set, so you're getting a lot in it. There's also a couple sentiments. You are loved, and then this small hi there. And the back of the die packaging really shows you some inspiration, how you can layer up these florals and die cut them and combine them. A lot of different looks depending on the colors that you choose to use. So I die cut all of them. First you have to stamp them and then you die cut them. So it's not really a standalone die set. You want to stamp first and then die cut. But look at all the different mixture of flowers and different looks you can get. So I layered those two stamps together for this kind of like a rose. And then this one here, I layered that stamp with that little center. Kind of like a daisy. I'm not sure what all these flowers are called, but even the leaves have detail. I don't know if you can see the subtle kind of veins on those leaves. Those are those two stamps mixed with those two detail stamps. And then here's another example, that leaf with the veins. I hope I'm using flower anatomy correctly. But here's another one here, a stem, and you can mix and match, put the flower on the stem and get a lot of different compositions. Here's the You Are Love stamped with black, and then I die cut it. I love when sentiments come with coordinating dies. Even that little hi there has a coordinating die for it. So I wanted to show you how quick and easy it is to stamp some of these blooms. So this large one here on the top right goes with that and that. So there's like 3. You can build it if you want to. You don't have to. You can definitely mix and match these blooms any way you wanna. Okay, I'm gonna stamp it first with honeysuckle ink. I have some white cardstock in my Misty here. I'm using Hammermill, but any white cardstock will do. Stamping it once with that honeysuckle. And I'm using all Concord 9th inks, of course. They stamp like butter. And then here's that little center. It's really easy to line up. And if you ever have trouble with this kind of thing, lining stamps up, which I do, let me tell you, this is easy. Okay, I'm going to stamp the center with Buttercup, a nice contrasting color. I'm not sure what type of flower this is, or even if I'm doing it correctly, but I don't think there's any rules. And now for the little tiny dots in the center, there's another stamp that you can line up, and it's very easy to do. And I'm stamping that with Nutmeg. But then you could also leave the little centers white. Looks kind of nice like that as well. So you get a lot of different looks. So there's one bloom layered up. And then now these 2 little flowers on the right, there's a large one and a small one. They pair with those 2 little centers. So I'll show you one of those as well. It's so easy to do and fun to do. I created one card where I just did stamping. I didn't even die cut the flowers. So you could definitely create a little bouquet with these blooms, kind of overlap them and bring them together tight. But if you want to separate them like I'm doing here and then use the coordinating dies, you can pop them onto a stenciled background or pattern paper, put them on a little tag. So here I stamped that center with Nutmeg and the flower out of poppy. Now here's the little, I'm going to call it a rose, and those two go together. So I'm going to stamp that solid using grapefruit ink. It's a very light peachy color. I love how this looks with this solid. And then for the detail, I'm going to use grapefruit ink again. So it's going to be a very subtle detail. I love to do tone on tone. Sometimes when you don't want anything harsh or distracting, try stamping the detail with the same color that you did the base, and it will give you just a nice subtle little look. Now if you want more contrast, use a darker shade of ink like Sorbet, and it will give you a deeper, richer, vibrant, more contrast. But if you want to keep it subtle, try tone on tone. Okay, moving on. Here's a little leafy cluster with the veins. I'm going to stamp that solid leaf with some Sprout ink, a nice light green, and then I'll stamp the veins again with that same Sprout ink. So we're keeping it subtle, but if you wanted to go darker, try Parsley ink, and that'll give you a more vibrant contrast with your 2 greens. I love the subtle look. I'm just kind of into that right now. Here we have another bloom. I don't know if this is a sunflower, coneflower. I'm not sure. But I stamp it with buttercup ink and then the little center with that nutmeg. And that looks so fun. I love that stamped with buttercup. And then lastly, since we're running out of room, I didn't show you all the blooms, but I am showing you a few to show you how easy it is to layer and mix and match with different colors. Here I stamped a few sea glass blooms with some buttercup centers. Now I want to show you how easy it is to die cut these. I recently bought this Anna Griffin Impress. And I got to tell you, I am impressed with the Impress. The magnetic plate just holds all the dies in place like so. You can die cut so many at once. It's a nice, big, large platform. I also have the Spellbinders. I have used it for years and love it too. That's not the point of this video. I'm showing you how the Flower Medley coordinating dies pair perfectly with the stamped images. Okay, moving on to a couple projects that I've created using this new collection. Here, this first card for the background, I use that Quirky stripes stencil on the background, and that gives a nice little pattern. I stamped a bunch of blooms. I die cut them all, made a little cluster, did that "You Are Loved" big bold sentiment on the bottom, added a few Concord 9th enamel dots for embellishment. And now here's card number 2. I kind of made it simple. I simplified it. It's a one-layer wonder, a nice white card with just a stamped bouquet and a stamped sentiment. I add a little bit of twine and a few of those clear drops, and this card is finished. I love the simplicity of that white space with a pop of color of the blooms. And that is the introduction to the new Flower Medley stamp set and Flower Medley dies.